Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest? Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
And welcome back to Before Nashville. We're introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. Let me give you a little background about this guy real quick. He has amassed about 200,000 streams and 93,000 listeners with streams in 124 countries. Now, that may be incorrect as of this moment. I don't know how that information is, but that's on Spotify. And his first single was called Sippin' on Summertime. And I know I played that when I was in radio. I can promise you I did. And the one thing about him that if you read in the bio earlier on the Facebook page and everything, he is a deputy sheriff in Frederick County, Virginia. Is that the way that's said, or is it the County of Frederick?
You had that 100% right. Yep, that's Frederick County, Virginia. Yep.
All right. And some of them kind of do that different, but he is a sheriff's deputy, and super excited to have him on tonight. So if you're on, then by all means, let's see. We've already got people chiming in. We got Brian Judy chiming in. Jeff Hastings with the Flagman's Mission is here. If any of our law enforcement brothers come on, which I've tagged several that I know, and I know that we've had some others that have been reached out to. If you guys want to give us a thumbs up in the comments, then you can do that as well, just to show support for your brother in blue, if nothing else. And so that's kind of where that's not where we're at tonight. We're here to talk about music. We're not here to talk about the badge, but we will talk about that in a little bit. Don't get me wrong. But we're here to talk about music first and foremost. So before everything else, Chris, tell me about what was life growing up for you?
Let's see. Life growing up for me, I grew up it's a city, not a town, called Martinsburg, West Virginia, which is the eastern panhandle, the tip of the panhandle of West Virginia, which actually borders Frederick County where I work now. So it's about a half hour away. So growing up, it wasn't an extremely busy city. I can't really say I grew up in the country, but, growing up was good there at Martinsburg. And if you want to talk about my musical roots, which I know you're probably about to ask that question.
Right.
Growing up with my dad, he played country music all his life, played guitar. He even cut a 45 record in Nashville in his day. So kind of just seeing him play music growing up, he had me and one of my other brothers playing music at the age of 16 and, in clubs and bars with him. And that's kind of how I started.
Right. Now what is your instrument of choice?
Well, I probably made a mistake on that, but I kind of went with the piano and the keyboard, but now it kind of gets in the way, but I'm still thankful that I really, I know how to play it well. So, but yeah, I guess that would be what I know how to play. I can fake some other instruments, but I would say the piano is what I do play.
And nothing wrong with having a keyboard off to the side and then going back over to that once in a while and, tickling the ivories and that kind of thing during the show. That's always great, man.
That's right.
So growing up, when you're 16 years old playing in the bars, what did your friends think about that? Did they have any, were they cool with it? Did they think it was kind of, odd, or how'd they think about it?
I don't know if I ever really asked them, but I think, for the most part, they thought it was pretty cool to see a 16, 17-year-old up there playing music, at that age.
Right.
And, even, I was involved a little bit in band in school, and, you would get up and do like a talent show or whatever. And just to play for a school audience, that they always thought it was cool to do something different other than high school sports or whatever not.
Absolutely. So did you get into sports too while you were in high school?
Very, very little. It was very little into sports in high school. Okay.
All right, you just got that, you got kind of a football player build. So I was just, of course, it's the same build that a law enforcement officer can have too. So
Yeah, I mean, I did get into a little bit of lifting as a young age, and I still kind of stick to that. That
Mhm.
kind of keeps me stable, I guess, so to speak.
Right. Well, what at what age did you feel like that this is what you wanted to do as far as the music side of it goes?
Well, that's funny because I think mid 20s, I kind of before I got into law enforcement, um, I took a trip to Nashville, took my keyboard with me. Um, Kind of got lucky, met up with a couple guys that was playing at like the stage and second fiddle. Seen the guy the next day. He was the singer. He said, "Hey man, do you have any shows coming up that you need a keyboard player?" Um, so he started filling me out. He's like, "Oh, well, what kind of keyboard do you play?" And I knew he was filling me out to make sure if I could play. So I told him what I had at the time. I can't. I think it was like a Yamaha Motive, Motive or something like that. So he got filling me out. He says, "Well, can you be at the second fiddle at 7 o'clock tonight?" And I lit up like a Christmas tree. Being there my first day, and I'm going to get to perform. Downtown Nashville. So
Wow.
with that said, I played my first gig, my first trip to Nashville. I played my first gig at the second fiddle. Um, I did learn that I need to learn more songs because when you move to town down there, you got to learn like 300 songs. So there was a few that where are we going, guys? But it worked out. And he invited me back to another show. And then I went back home and he was still inviting me back to other shows. I said, "Man, I'm in Virginia." Um, so then my next trip to Nashville, I got to play with another guy.
Right.
And that was at Crossroads. So that's right around the time that I had my application into the Front Row Police Department is where I started out. And at the same time, I was contemplating either moving downtown Nashville or taking up law enforcement. So after talking to enough of guys that played downtown, that's played on the road all their lives, they said, "No, go ahead and play law enforcement." So that's what I ended up doing. So
So let's just touch on that for a second. Was law enforcement something that ran in your family as well?
law enforcement did not run in my family. I believe I'm one of the first. I've always had an interest at a young age to do that. And I finally
Mhm.
took it serious and, worked my way to get there. Um, but yeah, I can't say it's in my family, but it was either between law enforcement or music, and at that time I chose law enforcement. So
Okay. All right. Well, just to give you, just kind of recap what we were doing earlier, because I want to get back over here real quick and look at if I can get this thing to work right. I know we've got an Army Ranger, we have a um, Army Reserve, two Army Reservists, as a matter of fact, and one of them, I believe, he is an MP, um, and they're all hanging out tonight, and then. Let's see if I'm missing anybody here. I think Jeff, I don't remember. I know you served. I want to say it was the Navy, and if it wasn't, please don't come after me. I might have that wrong. But we got a lot of folks like that on tonight. And as I told you, I think I told you earlier, my son was in law enforcement. He was in it since he was 16. He went as a
yeah,
cadet and just kept right on going all the way up. Um, and he's been with three sheriff departments. He's been with a municipal, city police department. Does auxiliary, was doing auxiliary. I don't know if he's still doing that or not now. And was training for SRT as well. So he's
right.
been pretty engulfed in it since he was 16. So about pretty close to 20 years now. So
We'll real quick, thank him for his service and thank the military guys that are viewing in for their service and anyone else that's not viewing in for their service.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of great folks that follow the podcast, and I want to give them a big shout out tonight. But just to kind of, getting back to the music itself. Now, let's talk a little bit about the first single, "Sipping on Summertime," because I know that it was. I don't know the year, but I'm almost sure. I played that song when it first came out.
That's quite a possibility. That was earlier this year.
Okay.
I went with Marco Promotions and Jerry Duncan for the
Mhm.
promotions. They teamed up, and I think we had a total of 10 or 11 stations that chimed in and actually added to the playlist. And it was a tough time. I think we hit started around spring and tried to hit the summer. And
Right.
we had all these crazy singles being released by like Luke Bryan and Al
Right.
Dean. And we were just getting flooded with great songs at the same time. And it's hard enough to get artists to play, for radio, just to
Right.
get some artist songs more than it is any guy I never heard of. I was happy, with the results we got, um, you know, hearing it on the radio is pretty cool. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, the independent artists are when you've got the influx of what you had this past summer, like you said, it seemed like every major artist, because they hadn't toured in so long,
Sure.
and some of them hadn't even put out singles during during 2020, they felt like, hey, we got to do something.
Right.
Uh, so they started dropping stuff left and right, and that hurt a lot of the independents because, I mean, you guys, it loaded up the chart. I'm a very close watcher of that, and I was just like, "Holy cow, man, that's just crazy." It's like
Yeah.
just constant.
It taught me a lot about the way it works, the radio, the industry, and a lot that I didn't know about how all that works.
Oh yeah, yeah. But you had a good team, I will tell you that, with Jerry and Lisa and Rick at Marco with them on your side, then that's pretty cool. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't trade him for the world.
right, and you got some spins on your local station, which is cool. WFRE, which I'm familiar with it,
Yep.
and that's pretty awesome. So when you were in Nashville and you're just visiting, you're not like looking to move or anything like that at the time. You're just there
Sure.
visiting, kind of checking out the lay of the land and see what it entails. What was the one thing that stuck in your mind the most about it as far as from a musician standpoint?
Well, I think that you recognize the talent level of musicianship throughout town. I mean, it's almost like a little network, a small circle of the same musicians you see downtown playing here. Then they're loading up and they're going to play the next spot. But, just the main thing I can remember is just the extreme talent level. You coming out of Virginia, going into Nashville, Tennessee, the talent level definitely increases. I mean, you got some of the best players in the world. So for me, as being a musician, that was awesome to see those guys and girls play their hearts out downtown, hoping they catch a break or they get a road artist or whatever they're trying to do.
Right. Right. And I mean, and that's the thing. One thing about Nashville, and that I've always noticed is it's not and it may be, but I just haven't seen it. It's not a competitive atmosphere
No,
so much.
I don't think so. I think I still got a good friend that I talked to. In fact, he played on a few of my tracks. He's been a road musician. He ventured town the same year I went down there. He ended up going on the road with several artists, and then now he's a studio musician. So now I
Mhm.
got him tracking. He's doing some of my sessions.
Right.
But from talking to him and talking to everybody else, it's really yeah. I mean, you got to be a phenomenal player, but you got to have a good attitude. You
Oh
don't
yeah.
If you don't have a good attitude down there, then you're not playing anywhere. So
Right.
that's what I've learned down there. So
If it's not the clubs that run you out of town with a bad attitude, it's the musicians because they don't want to put up with it.
yeah.
So, and I mean, who were some of the influences that you grew up with as far as music goes?
Man, there's so many. Um, but I think growing up, I really catered to like Diamond Rio, some of the vocal groups, Little Texas, Travis Tritt, Rascal Flats, um, gosh, there are so many. But I would say I really listen to Diamond Rio, Little Texas, Tim McGraw, Rascal Flatts, and so many more. There are just so many to list.
Oh yeah, and a lot of great ones there. I mean, like you said, you know, the guys from the '90s, Diamond Rio and Restless Heart. Restless Heart's one of my all-time favorite
Yeah,
bands. I
Restless Heart.
love their, you know, their harmonies and their songs, and just amazing group of guys. And
Absolutely.
you know, Diamond Rio, they're super good, and the same thing. I mean, that's one of the things about today. You don't hear that kind of harmony from groups today, and there's not that many groups out there, but you don't hear that tight harmony like you heard back in the '90s. I don't think.
No, I feel like it's just all overproduced. A lot of it now. You know, you hear a lot of different stuff, but you know, the whole industry's changed from what it sounds like today to what it sounded back in the '90s, for sure.
Right, right. Definitely a forgotten art, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, it's definitely different. I'm trying to keep up with it. So I made sure, you know, my last couple tracks anyway were kind of up to par, up to date, you know, so to speak,
Right.
with some of the beats and just the style, just to see how they do.
Right. Now you oh shoot, I started to go somewhere and it just totally left me there. Hang on a second. Let me pull. I was going to talk about songwriting. Do you write a lot of your own stuff?
I write everything I have. It's just me. And fortunately, sometimes my wife will help me if I get stuck like on a line. Sometimes you get all the way through the song. Like, you know, I'm a verse, I'm a chorus, and then I'm a second verse, and then I'm having trouble with one line. Sometimes she'll jump right in and just find a line that works perfect. So I would say me, and then my wife's also a team player sometimes when it comes to my songwriting. So,
do you give her any credit in the songwriting?
well, since we're married, I don't. I probably should, but I don't at this point. No, just credit on here.
Because I don't want to get you in trouble.
Right. But yeah, I got a total of. I just finished 3 tracks in Nashville after Christmas, so that'll make a total of 9 tracks. So
okay. Now, are these all new tracks?
3 of them are new, 3 of them are unreleased. The other 6 you can find on any digital platform, Spotify, okay, YouTube, wherever. They've been out since, I'd say, my first 2 were done 2020, and then I went back and did 4 more, and then I just went recently back and did 3 more. So,
right. Now, who, and this is something a lot of people may not, you know, recognize the name, but who's your producer on? Do you have the same producer on all of them?
For the majority of them, yes. The first 2 tracks, my buddy Tim Galloway, I'll mention his name. He's the one I kind of met downtown the first time I ever went. That plays on my tracks.
Okay.
He put together a crew as far as musicians and a producer the first go around. Actually, me and my brother, he also plays music, and he recorded 2, and I recorded 2 the same time using the same producer the first time.
Right.
Now, the second time I went down and did 4 tracks by myself, and I used a guy named Ken Royster at Direct Image Studio. Ken's an amazing producer for new guys like me and indie guys. He's really great at working your vocals. I think that's one of the best things I've found that Ken is really good at.
Right.
Ken actually produced when Luke Combs come to town before, you know, he had any money or anything. That's where Luke Combs went to see Ken. He barely had enough money to stay and keep doing his vocals for his vocal track. So I think what they did when they cut Hurricane at this studio, he just took the scratch track. And then from Hurricane, I think he did She's Got the Best of Me and other songs there too. But I think from Hurricane, that's kind of what he got his big record deal from. So,
Oh, wow.
at that studio there. So,
Well, that's pretty cool then, because maybe there's some kind of little bit of mojo in there that help you out.
yeah, I mean, it's cool to know that, Luke Combs, one of the biggest artists out there right now that was in the, we shared the same vocal booth at one time anyway. I can say that much. So
Right.
that's cool.
So when you're writing a song, what are there, particular things that inspire you, or is it just kind of whatever comes to your mind at that moment? I mean, I know like the law enforcement, you can write songs about that profession all day long.
Absolutely. It's just whatever comes to mind. I mean, I think my first song I ever written was Where I Come From. And that was just kind of like growing up. And then like in the course of the song, I mentioned artists that I listened to.
Right.
And that was just inspired of growing up. The second track, as I'm still kind of filling myself out as a new songwriter. So, lyrics are so. The second track was She's Fired.
Right.
It's more like a love song, like a girly song, So, just rhyming some lyrics, had a good little beat, good little rhyme going, and, we cut that one. And then, my 4 tracks I did earlier this year, Like Tomorrow's Gone. That one was inspired by my wife. I felt like if I don't write a song for her, happy wife, happy life, right?
Right. So, exactly.
So that one was kind of, inspired by her, my marriage.
Right.
And then Right This Time, that was another one, kind of the same feeling. And then Sipping on Summertime. That's the one that actually promoted the radio. That one was inspired, we play a place called West Oaks here in Winchester. It's like a farm market, but they have a large outside venue. They get about 1,000 people sometimes.
Wow.
So as a band, I have a band we call Chris Darlington Band. So when we play out, for some reason, no matter where you are, everybody always requests country roads.
Right.
Whether you're in Virginia, Tennessee, West Virginia for sure, everybody wants to hear country roads. So, just from me playing in the band and playing at that venue, that's kind of how I was inspired to write that song. And I feel like Summertime is something you can definitely write about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the guys watching tonight, we got Doug Patterson on here, and Doug is a police officer over in Illinois.
All right.
And I don't remember it. I don't study up on the people that watch enough, I guess, as much as I do the artist.
Right.
Maybe I need to start that a little bit, but so when you're up on stage, where are you getting I mean, what's your how can I phrase this? Like your energy. I mean, are you typically an energetic person once you hit the stage? Does your personality kind of change, from being like mild mannered to, okay, guys, we're gonna, kick ass and take names here?
Right. That's a good question. And I think that really varies sometimes on the venue where you're playing. With me, and like me or the band or anybody else, I kind of feed off the crowd. So if I feel like there's a good crowd and they're in tune with what you're doing and they're energetic, then that ultimately makes me energetic. And then back to the comment where I said I shouldn't have played keyboard. So I actually front with the keyboard in front of me. So like I said, it kind of gets in the way. I can only do so much because I'm a predominant part of the band for now. And, a big red Nord keyboard's kind of getting in my way. So my dance moves are kind of hidden. So, not
That's
that
the
I
way
dance.
I have to have it. That's what I was saying. if I didn't have it there, it would be embarrassing anyway. So.
That's right. Thank God it's there.
Right, right. Um, and here, I mean, you talked about the keyboard and taking that up and stuff. Another one of my favorite artists, and I think he was more from the 2000s, but Craig Campbell. When Craig got to Nashville, he was a keyboard player and actually went on the road with Luke Bryan.
Yeah.
So, it's not impossible because he did a lot of stuff downtown before that even happened. So,
Sure,
the keyboards can take you somewhere. Yeah. I don't play keyboards at all. I used to be able to play chopsticks years ago, and I forgot more of that than what I know. So.
Absolutely. You got to learn chopsticks. That's one of your first songs you have to learn.
Yeah. It's kind of like with a guitar. You have to know My Dog Has Fleas.
That's right. Absolutely.
If there are any inspiring guitar players out there, learn My Dog Has Fleas. And if you're inspiring to play the keyboard, learn chopsticks and you're good to go.
Yep.
Are you looking, I mean, with all the songs you've got, I mean, you've got enough material to put out an EP or an album. Is that something that's in the works, even though you've already put these out on Spotify or, the digital platforms?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I think because they're already out, they're already kind of out, they're already there. So, I just kind of, I keep up with the pace of my songwriting. So when it's just me writing songs, I feel like I get 2 or 3 down that are worth a shot, and I'll go downtown and record, and then go ahead and release them. So I can't really say I'm going to put them all on an album. Maybe I'll make a CD, which I don't even know if people actually do CDs a whole lot anymore, but I might put them all on a CD. But yeah, I don't think that once you release them, I don't know that you can turn it back to an album at that point. That's a good question.
That's something I don't know the answer to. The big thing now, though, and it's it's kind of like fashion. They say every so many years, fashion comes back around, and you see a lot of the girls in Nashville now. They're wearing bell bottoms. I think it's like every 30 years, but vinyl is getting to be big again.
I see that. Yeah, the vinyl records are coming back.
Yeah, I've saw a lot of artists that have done that, and I think it's just amazing, that because I'm a huge vinyl person. I mean, I don't have as big of a collection as some of the people I know do, but I've got a pretty good sized collection of stuff, and I just love a good vinyl. I mean, I've got 4 turntables in the house, so surely I like it some.
I agree. I think the vinyl is a cool thing that is kind of coming back, and I think it's definitely a cool thing to put on the wall or whatever.
Right. I mean, and they're awesome, so that's the thing. I mean, like I said, I've got a good sized collection of stuff, and have some more I need to get ordered. I've got a couple of friends that have some like limited edition type stuff, like red vinyl. A buddy of mine's got a red vinyl of his last album out, and he's just releasing his new one. And so I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to order that. So, but now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to refer to something. We've been conversing via email primarily. We've done some stuff on Instagram. But I think the song that we're playing tonight is one that you told me was not going to be released yet.
Right now you got like your voice just went robot on me. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's on your end or my end, but you went like a real distorted robotic.
Can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you, but it's hard. It's almost like a broken.
All right, hang on a second. I'm going to try something here and then we'll come right back. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Did that make a difference?
Not yet. No, unfortunately.
Well, I wonder what that could be. There is no telling. Well, let's see here. Brian says he can hear me okay. I don't know if it may be on your end then.
Can they still hear me okay?
We'll see if they can or not. I'll show you this comment real quick while we're checking that out. Where did it go? I thought Jeff Hastings. He took you as an 8-track guy. So Jeff was a member. He was a member of Ammo Troop. That's what it was. And I apologize, Jeff. Yeah, we got people saying everything's good on their end, so it may just be on yours. If it gets to the point that we can't we can't seem to salvage it, we'll play the music, and then maybe we can figure out what to do from there.
Yeah, I still got it, but I can still kind of make out what you're saying, so we'll roll with it.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do. Just real quick, let me go back to the question I asked. The song that we're playing tonight, the one that you sent me that we have up advertised, that song has not been released yet?
Hold That Line, which is my law enforcement inspired track, it has been previewed, a verse and a chorus, but I have not officially released the song, and the release date that is March the 4th.
Okay, so this is kind of a world premiere where we get to actually play the whole thing, which I'm excited about because I love doing world premieres. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and I'll intro that. We'll start the song, and then if I'll pull you off the screen, and if you need to log out and come back in, maybe it'll help.
Real quick, I got you back. I don't know what happened, but I got you back.
All right. Well, I moved my foot, so maybe I had it on a wire.
That was it. You got it.
That's all it was. Okay. All right. So here we go. This is Chris, and this is Hold the Line on Before Nashville, which, by the way, is being brought to you tonight by Go-Go Tuners, the professional tuners or the go-to tuners for professional and amateur musicians alike. Also by Heart to Heart Coffee. It's the coffee that gives back. You can order yours at heartcoffee.com. Civvies Apparel. We've got them. They've got, if you can, I don't know if you can see my shirt for the the microphone in the way, but this is a Civvy shirt. They take retired military uniforms, incorporate that into their shirts, and worn by heroes, made with respect. And you can find out more about them at civviesapparel.com. And we also have Three Rangers. I'm sorry, it takes half an hour to get through all the folks that support us. We got Three Rangers whiskey, and those guys, it was born of a brotherhood. Three Rangers whiskey, and you can check them out at threerangers.com. So here we go. This is Chris with Hold That Line.
Introducing the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. Here's a Before Nashville world premiere.
Lacing up those boots, strapping on that vest, spin that radio on, pin a star in the chest. Just doing what we love and doing what we do. We kiss our family goodbye before we go. Crazy world out there, only the good Lord knows. If we take that last call, the cavalry will be there. Hold that line. Where we fall, we're holding that thin blue line. 'Cause that's what we do. We don't do it for the glory, we do it for you. No matter the price, we'll sacrifice. We will. We'll hold that line. We'll hold that line. Yeah. Love us or hate us, we'll always be there. No matter the call, anytime, anywhere. Just do what we love, yeah, do what we do. Blue lights and sirens, yeah, it's time to go. No time to defund us. You should know that we're not perfect. We're human, we're flawed. Just say to some grace for the sake of us all. We're holding that thin blue line, 'cause that's what we do. We don't do it for the glory, we do it for you. No matter the price, we'll sacrifice, we will. We'll hold that line. We're holding that thin blue line. That's what we do. We don't do it for the glory, we do it for you. We're holding that thin blue line. That's what we do. We don't do it for the glory, we do it for you. No matter the price, we'll sacrifice, we will. We'll hold that line. We'll hold that line. We'll hold that line.
That was Chris Darlington. Hold that line on Before Nashville, introducing the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. So real quick, I was looking at a couple of things during that. If you saw me kind of looking away, because I wanted to update some things. Now, on Spotify alone, with what you've got right now, we said that earlier you had 200,000 streams, and you've got that on one song. That's not including the others, which are, looks like we've got roughly about 260,000 plus streams just on Spotify for your music. And which is that's pretty doggone awesome. 404 or 4,471 monthly listeners, and that's a big number too. Did you ever think when you started this that you would have that kind of reaction to your music?
No, just the first time we recorded down there was just kind of like for the experience. What better souvenir going to Nashville can you take home with you other than a Nashville recorded track? So that's kind of how we looked at it the first time. And then, you do it the first time, like, this is a disease. I'm going to, this is addictive. I'm going to go back and do it again. So never really predicted that, it would even get to that level. Fortunately, Spotify allows you to pitch songs. Right. So when I figured that out, and I was a little late figuring that out. So by the time I recorded my next 4, still kind of did it wrong because you have to give enough time in between each release to be able to pull that off. But I was able to pull off Like Tomorrow Is Gone. And that's a song I really didn't think that I pitched it, but I didn't think that would be something that they would add. So that song they end up adding to New Nashville playlists, Fresh Finds playlist, and then Country Rocks playlist. And then it was, I believe, the top 50 of Fresh Finds for the end of the year back on that playlist again. So that was a big push from Spotify when they decided to put me on that playlist, those playlists. So hopefully we can have the same luck with the next 3. So.
Right. Right. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for letting me be the first to play that song because I think it's great. I mean, we're going to kind of shift gears to back to Holding the Line. Tell me a little bit about the song itself. I mean, it's pretty obvious where it came from. It came from the heart of an officer, of a law enforcement officer.
Sure.
Was and as bad as I hate to ask this, was there any particular event that kind of catapulted you to write that song?
You know, I think that, 2020 was a rough year for all of us, for the whole world. And then I noticed that, during that time, 2019, 2020, it looked like, to me, my perception of the media looked like law enforcement took a big hit.
Right.
I felt like almost we took too hard of a hit, more so than what reality is. So I felt like, coming from my perspective of actually doing the job for 16, 17 years and working with some of the best guys and girls in the world, I don't see what they were portraying on the media. Not that everything's negative, but there was a lot of negative at that time. So I felt like we needed a boost. We needed a message that, hey, we're here. We're not here for fame. We're not here for the money, but we're here for you.
Right.
And the same thing about the little second verse with the defunding piece. I mean, love us or hate us, we're going to be there anyway.
Right.
And I feel like I needed to kind of put that in words, put that in the song to let people know we're just human. Obviously, we're not robots. We're going to make mistakes just like every other profession. And but for the most part of law enforcement officers and even other people I know, they're good people. So that's kind of where it comes from.
Being a Leo dad, that's one of those things that really, as a parent, and I'm sure your wife can attest to this, and I'm not going to make assumptions if your parents are still around or not. But that 3 a.m. phone call is the scariest thing in the world you could ever get.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can say I've had that scare. My son survived, but it scared the daylights out of me. And the media, being in radio and being in media, which again, this is one of those things I'm not proud of to say, that I'm in media, but the televised media more than anything, they looked for, it was like they were set up at every corner just waiting to get the bad film that they could get. Everybody's got bad apples. There's car salesmen that will rip you off, and there's car salesmen that will go out of their way to make sure you get the best deal that you can get on the best car that they can get you. And it's in every profession. There's good and there's bad, and the bad ones a lot of times, especially in a public servant profession, tend to outweigh the good ones.
Absolutely. Like they tell you when you're in the academy, you're held to a higher standard, and you are. I mean, so when we do make a mistake, and it's going to happen. Unfortunately, we're all punished for it at some point. So,
Exactly.
But anyway, I think that it looks like it here lately. It's getting a little better, so hopefully it keeps swinging that way. I don't see a whole lot of that kind of thing on the media now as much as I did. So.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it is. I think they've started to back off some, and they've realized that, the men and women wearing the badge are not the bad guys. They're the ones that, serve and protect. We need to, I'm going to get on a political soapbox, so I'm going to step away from that because we'll be here all night long.
Right. Right.
I got a lot of stuff to say about that, and I'm going to keep that opinion to myself because I don't want to offend anybody. Not that I think anybody that's tuned in I would offend, trust me. But now, if you could look back or if you could go back to your 16-year-old self when you were playing in the bars after the experiences that you've had through Nashville, and playing in, in and around your area and stuff, what is the one piece of advice that you would give your younger self in preparation or just advice in general?
Yeah, it's a good question. But, if I had to give myself advice back at that age, I would just say if that's your passion and that's what you want to do, then don't waste no time and don't look back. Just go for it and do it. Get to it and do it. Because time's ticking for everybody, obviously.
Right.
So I would definitely say, ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Right.
Don't look back and keep moving forward. And you can do anything if you want to. So don't ever let anything or anybody hold you back. So.
Right. Great advice too. I mean, that's a lot for any of us. I mean, not just for your younger self, but all of us could take that advice to heart.
Absolutely.
Now, before I get to that question, here's one that I like to throw out to folks. If there was one song that you look back and you go, man, why did I not write that song? What would it be?
Man, that's a tough one there. There's so many good songs. I really like, as far as the songwriter, and the lyrics and style, which I'm not smart enough to write like this, but Cover Me Up by Jason Isbell, and then Morgan Wallen ended up covering it. Dude, I think that song is just, everything about that song is great. The way Morgan delivered it was great, but the songwriting itself is just pretty good.
It's a great song. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I didn't.
Another one, real quick, if I'm going back to like 90s, I would say would be The Dance, Garth Brooks.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Those two songs I think are monster songs. But unfortunately, I didn't write them. So
you'd be sad if you did, though.
Yeah,
if you wrote The Dance, you'd be sad.
Oh yeah.
So now another thing, a couple more quick questions, and I'm going to get to another one of those thought-provoking. If you could classify your music, and the reason I ask this question, because I look at country as having so many different, what I call subgenres, country rock, country pop, hip hop, traditional country, that kind of thing. Where do you feel like your music fits in to that umbrella of country?
Yeah, that's a good question because, it really depends on the track, but I think if you combine them all, Like Tomorrow's Gone, even Hold That Line.
Mm-hmm.
Those two I would classify definitely as country rock.
Right.
But if you're looking at the new one that's going out to radio now, Stay for a Little While, She's Fire, Right This Time, I would almost say traditional country and country pop.
Okay.
It just depends on the track, but I would just say traditional for me, traditional and with a mix of country rock, country pop, depending on the writing of the song.
If there was one artist that you could sit down and have dinner with and a conversation from the past, this is somebody that's no longer with us, who would that artist be and what would your question be to them?
Now, when you say the past, that means like they're not here no more. They're no longer an artist.
Right. No, that they passed away. I should probably put that. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's a tough one. I might have to talk to old George Jones. Yeah, I might have to talk to George Jones about that one.
Mm-hmm.
And what would I ask George Jones? I believe I'd ask George Jones the same question you just asked me. That's a good, thoughtful question. And I think I would just give him that. I would fire that same question at him to see what he would say that somebody passed. But yeah, if anybody that's passed, I'd say George Jones. I mean, he's a legend in his time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that the question you would phrase to him, because I've never had anybody say that before. And that's really cool. Brian wants to know what your favorite cover song is to do.
And that's a good question too. And how you doing, Brian? Good to see you on here. I can't see you, but I know you're out there.
We don't want to see you, so we'll just leave it at that.
Oh yeah. Brian's actually hooked me up. He directed me your way in another direction, and the Freedom concert. He just reached out to me about that last year. I would say we play a lot of songs in our band and different genres and everything. But I really like playing Brand New Man, Brooks and Dunn. That's a good one I like playing.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee Whiskey, Chris Stapleton. That's a good one. And I'll even go as far as a Creed song. We play some Creed if you're familiar with Creed back in the day.
All right.
So
we just had a guy on the other night that was a big fan of theirs and actually plays the PRS guitars, the Mark Tremonti versions, and
right.
That's pretty cool. And my son and I were big fans of theirs back in the day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I think a combination of Brooks and Dunn, that always goes over well. Brand New Man, always goes over well no matter where you play it.
Mm-hmm.
And even Fishing in the Dark,
Oh yeah,
Fishing, that's another one that I enjoy playing. Seems like it goes over well.
It's a good one because everybody likes to line dance to it,
Yeah.
So.
And we play so many. There's so many good ones that we do. But yeah, hopefully we can play one of those for Brian at some point.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell me what he wants to hear.
Brian says his favorite song to cover is "Man, I Feel Like a Woman."
Well, I started to mention that one, but I didn't want to go there. But I started to. But I knew that would take his claim to fame if I did that.
Right, exactly. Let's see. Jeff's got a good question here. What's the best way to pay honor to a fallen hero?
That's a tough one.
Wow.
That hits close to home because we just lost two about an hour away from me, an hour which would be south of me in Winchester, in a shooting just the day before yesterday.
Wow.
And it's all, I follow all the media, law enforcement media sites, and it's every day somewhere, unfortunately. But the best way to honor them, I don't know, with me, usually we just we shroud our badge, cover the badge.
Right. Jeff is with Flagman's Mission, and I don't know the total encompassing thing that they do, but they do a lot for like when a soldier, a fallen service member, whenever they have them come in, or like they'll set up flags. they do so much. I mean, it's one of those things that I couldn't even tell you what all they do. Jeff is the expert, and I would have to let him do it. And I know whatever I tell him,
Sure.
you know, there's going to be a lot more that encompasses, and you know, everything that that they do. I know there's a lot more than I'm aware of, and I apologize for that. If you don't know about Flagman's Mission, you know, any of our viewers, you can always go check them out online and read up on them and stuff. And that's probably the best thing to do is, because don't depend on me to tell them, you know, you know, say, hey, this is what they do. Cause I'm not 100% sure. And I don't want to, you know, I don't want to shortchange them, so to speak, on what they
Right.
do. Now if, let's take the F out of there. You've signed a record deal and your career has just gone, you know, ballistic. There, Jeff kind of explained more about what they do, bringing the community together to pay honor to a fallen hero, give them the opportunity to pay honor to a member of their community. Very well said, Jeff. And I didn't want to get into that other without explaining that more. And I'm going to leave that one up there for just a minute. So you've hit, like, we'll just say Luke Combs success. You're playing arenas everywhere and you're getting ready to go out on tour and you're the star. Okay. Because I have a lot of people that kind of question the response that they have, but I want you to understand you're the one that's going, you know, that are headlining these tours. You're the guy that's the one everybody wants to see. And you get to pick two people to open up for you. It does not matter what their status in the country music world is right now whatsoever. This is all about you. Who are you going to pick?
So two people, you know, not to they don't have to be famous. It could be any status, correct?
Yeah, they can be famous. They can, you know, they can be up and coming. It doesn't matter. Just two people that that you feel like they're going to open your show and they're going to do justice in that opening slot.
Well, right off the bat, Luke Combs, you're opening up for me, right? I can have Luke Combs open up for me. That would be great, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. No, you know, I think that that's a hard question too. You know, I got two brothers that actually play music. One of them currently plays rhythm guitar for me, and then the other one has his own band, which at one time we were all in the band together. So, you know, he would definitely be one of them. His band, Blue Ridge Rain, you know, he could be the opener for the big stadium.
Right.
You know, you know, it would be nice to think Luke Combs could open up for me, but who else would I get? There's a real cool bluegrass band / bluegrass alternative bluegrass band in town called Low Water Bridge. Really cool, really cool music. If you get a chance, go out and look them up. They're on Spotify. That would be a cool group to have open up for you. They're really talented, write some pretty cool songs and good music if you like bluegrass.
Okay.
So give some local guys some recognition. I would say Blue Ridge Rain and Low Water Bridge Band.
Okay. All right. We'll keep, matter of fact, I'm going to write those down in case anybody has that. You said Blue Ridge Rain and then Low Water Bridge. All right. Now, somebody had asked earlier about where to find Doug, I love you, brother, but it's your daughter. You might want to read that. I don't want to put that up yet. Doug, who is a Leo brother from Illinois, I say he's not my Leo brother because I'm not a law enforcement officer. But he has a daughter named Ray Lynn, and she is 11, and she has a phenomenal voice. I mean, just really an awesome little girl. And so he tossed her name in the hat for the opening slot.
There you go. Absolutely.
But she is really good. She's already playing out, and people are loving her. So
That's great.
now,
Yeah.
earlier, let me see. Oh, there's Mina. Mina from Civvies is on here. He's the owner of Civvies, which is the shirt that I'm wearing and made from the uniforms. I'm trying to find a question somebody asked earlier that I wanted to get to because I thought it was a really good one. Oh, here we go. Ronald wanted to know where can they buy your songs or find your songs? We know it's on Spotify, but where else can they be found at? Can your music be found?
Great question. As far as the 6 tracks that are currently out, you should be able to stream them most platforms, which would be Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora. And there's a more of a list. Crazy. You can get them on Facebook. You can get them on, I believe, TikTok, Snapchat. There's so many outlets right now that when you distribute these songs, they go to.
Oh yeah.
So to answer the question, 6 tracks that I have currently released, you should be able to find them anywhere if you search Chris Darlington. As far as the new tracks, they're not released yet, but they should all be released within the next 3 or 4 months.
Okay. All right. So we'll keep our eyes out for that and make sure. And then if they want to find you, of course, we've got, and I had this messed up earlier. I should have moved you over to above your website here, but you can go to Chris Darlington Music. And if you happen to be in, get over here to where I can find out where I'm at. If you happen to be in the Virginia area at any time, I will say this, Chris is a busy guy. There are a ton of shows up here that, now did you have any, I guess, suffrage during COVID on your shows and stuff, or have they always looked like this?
Yeah, we did. I think at the one point where we all got shut down, pretty much everybody was shut down for a while. So I think we had a 4 or 5 month span where nobody done anything. You really couldn't go anywhere. But I would say since last summer, we've been back at it pretty much almost full speed, and still going. So that's a good thing.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm looking at some of the places here. You've got fairs coming up. You're opening up for Wade Jennings, which that is Waylon Jennings' son.
It's Waylon Jennings' grandson.
So Shooter, is that Shooter's boy? Is that who that is?
I think it would be Shooter's boy, maybe, but don't quote me.
Right. And you never know how many kids they have or who you know about. I don't mean that in a bad way, but you don't. But you're going to be at the Frederick County Fair. Are all of these are all in the West Virginia area, right?
Yeah, for the most part, they're within I'd say a 100-mile radius of Winchester, Virginia.
Okay. All right. So, but be sure to go check him out. And Jeff wanted to know if we can hope to have you in St. Louis in that area anytime soon, because that's where a lot of these folks are from. A lot of them are associated with the Freedom Jam, or like I said, military or law enforcement as well, in some shape, form, or fashion. So we'll have to work and see if we can't get Chris up to the St. Louis area here sometime. Maybe we can work some magic on some folks and get you in there.
Yeah, I would love to do it. Never been to Missouri. If I can talk my band into a 14-hour drive, I believe, and we can do like a 2-nighter up there and play a Friday and Saturday night back to back. Let's do it.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Now, this is something that just hit me about the band itself. You said your brother's in the band.
Yeah, I do have one brother that's in the band.
Right. Now, are there any of your, any of the guys in the band that are law enforcement as well? Or are they just buddies that you met, grew up with, or kind of what's the composition of the band, I guess?
Currently, my guitar player, he's been with me since we started the band, and he's just a guy I kind of met just through work. He's not in law enforcement, but I kind of met, knew he played guitar, and we started practicing, and he's still with me. Great guitar player. My brother, I've always played with him off and on. He started out in a heavy metal band years ago, and I talked him into running sound and playing some acoustic with me. So right now he's pretty much doing acoustic and a little lead here and there. I'm trying to get him to come out of the show and play a little bit more lead. And the bass player is fairly new to this band. However, I played with him in the other band where I played with my other brother. So I played with him for years. So he's now a newer bass player for us, but I've known him for years. And the drummer is fairly new. He's fairly young, but he's doing really well, and we look forward to getting with him. He's 20 years old, but he's drumming like he's been doing for a while. So
that's great. Well, go ahead.
So yeah, ultimately a good bunch of guys to play with.
Right. Well, and like I said, if you want to find out more, you can go to Chris's website, and he's got his Facebook and Instagram links there, and you can follow him on that. And then, it's got his bio, it's got contact information, some of the music and stuff. And again, the music, you can find it pretty much on all the streaming platforms. And then you said you do have some stuff. Do you have some videos out on YouTube?
I don't really I do have a YouTube. I have just the song. Like, you can find all the tracks on YouTube, but they're not really videos. Okay. I have some live videos, just little, 30 seconds here and there clips. I did fail to mention on the website itself, you can go hear any of that music on the website. If you go to music, you can see all 6 tracks, and as soon as we get the others released, they'll be on there as well. So you can find the music on the website. So
all right. Well, so just be sure to go there and check everything out, on the streaming platforms. Check out his music. Again, as I always say, if it comes down to the music, if there's a particular track you want, go ahead and spend the 99 cents or the $1.09, whatever they're charging, and buy it, because that's just going to help out the artist. If you can get the whole album, or they package it as an album, however they want to do that, purchase it as well. The streaming helps, don't get me wrong, but when you purchase it, it's just a lot more helpful to these guys, and you can pre-save. If you get an offer to pre-save any of their music, make sure you pre-save it, because that's going to get, notifications and stuff. It helps you, and it helps the artist too. So Chris, again, man, thanks for coming on tonight. It's been great. I've really enjoyed talking to you and chatting with you, just hanging out and, getting to know you. And thank you first and foremost for your service.
Thank you.
And as always, we want you to, watch your back and always stay safe out there, because it's the world, and that's about the best. That's the nicest thing we can say about it.
Right. Well, George, like I said, thank you for what you do. Giving all these indie artists an opportunity from a guy like you that's got experience in radio, experience with Music Row, which is another plus. I know you said earlier that you, in an email, that you used to report to Music Row. So that's very, very good experience for somebody like me or an indie artist to have you be able to do these podcasts and have that kind of background. So that's fortunate for you to be out there doing that.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And thank you for coming on, and thank you for all the kind words. I really do.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. And we'll keep an eye out, and maybe we can get you in somewhere down here before too long. We'll see if we can get something worked out. Okay.
hopefully we can work it out. It'd be good to see y'all.
All right. Well, Chris, take care. Everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. We sure appreciate it. And as always, Monday night, we'll have another artist of tomorrow that we're going to be introducing to you. And be sure to tune in again Monday and Thursday nights. That's when you can catch Before Nashville. So until Monday night, y'all have a great weekend. Be safe out there if you're hopefully not going to be traveling over the next couple of days. If you're in the mid-Missouri region or anywhere around there, because it is really dangerous. And right now, I don't know what your weather's like out there, Chris. Did y'all get hammered with anything or not?
We got our hammer about a little over a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It wasn't snow, it was ice, but it was about 6 inches of ice. It was nasty. So I'm glad it's starting to melt away there.
Yeah, we didn't get much, but we definitely want everybody to be safe. So we'll see everybody on Monday night. Again, Chris, thanks a lot, brother, for coming on, and take care.
Thank y'all. Thanks so much.